NBA draft frenzy is upon us. Analysts are shifting towards poring over the incredibly large pool of talent, trying to identify who should go in the lottery, who is an option for a late first round pick, and what players teams want to pick up in the second round. I've already done my mock draft, which covers the first 10 picks in the draft. So this video will cover some of my favorite sleeper picks in this year's NBA draft. Players who could fall in the draft and be very solid, or even great pieces in the NBA. We saw this last season with Kyle Kuzma, a junior who slipped to the 27th pick and then showed everyone how talented he was. Before the draft, analysts thought he was between positions and wondered about his jump shot and ability to score in the NBA. But he showed out in his first season with the Los Angeles Lakers and is now a core part of their future. All 30 NBA teams will be looking to make moves to pick up someone late in the draft who can seriously contribute, as it is one of the easiest ways to add value to your roster. The following are 7 players I would be seriously evaluating if I was an NBA GM from all points of the draft. The first prospect off the list is Maurice Wagner, a center and power forward from Michigan. Wagner is 6'11" and has the range to stretch the floor. He shot 39.4% from deep on over 4 attempts a game in his most recent college season. He is a fantastic pick and roll and pick and pop player, being able to dive to the basket and catch and finish inside, or spread out to the free throw line or the 3-point line to hit the outside shot. In the NBA, Wagner will have to focus on popping out to the 3-point line, as in the NBA players can't really afford to go to the free throw line as it cramps the spacing. Luckily, Wagner is comfortable out at the 3-point line and he can dive to the rim also. He has the ability to go in for lobs and can make a move if he catches the ball in the paint. At almost 7 feet tall, he could also become an average NBA defender at the center position. He appears to be a little bit too slow to defend the 4, and he will have to get a bit stronger if he wants to effectively guard the 5, but I think he'll be able to become an average NBA defender. And it is for this reason that I project him to become a solid bench player in the NBA and the occasional starter. But with a late first or early second round pick, that is a great result. Spacing the floor and creating offense is always a huge issue for NBA benches, and I can see Wagner having a long career doing that. Now, Michael Porter Jr. will be going somewhere in the top 7 draft picks in this year's NBA draft. But his younger brother surprised in college and will see himself selected in the first round also. Many thought that Jontay was simply a package deal and that he wouldn't really make it in the NBA, but he played really well in his brother's absence in his only year at college. At 6'11", he played minutes as both a 4 and a 5 in college, and if he puts on a bit of size, he could eventually guard centers in the NBA. But for now, he projects as a solid stretch 4. Jontay shot 36.4% on threes and averaged 9.9 points, 6.8 rebounds, 2.2 assists, 1.7 blocks, and 0.8 steals a game in just 24 minutes off the bench. These are great stats for the youngest player in the draft, and he could develop into a fantastic player for whichever team takes him. He fits the modern NBA perfectly, being able to shoot, pass, rebound, and defend all at a high level. Plus, he can actually create his own shot off of the dribble and in the post, giving him the potential to turn into more than just a role player. But there are rumors that Jontay is considering heading back to college, as no team is committed to drafting him in the first round or top 20. I think this would be a mistake. Teams are usually unwilling to commit to players in this range, as the draft is completely unpredictable. However, Porter is good enough to get drafted in the first round, and I wouldn't be surprised if a team like Milwaukee picked him as high as 17. The Bucks are obsessed with length, and he would add scoring and passing. Plus, I'm sure Coach Bud could figure out a way to make him work in the NBA. For all of these reasons, I hope that Porter stays in this draft alongside his brother. Up next, we have Devon Hall. Devon Hall is definitely not going to go in the first round, and a lot of mock drafts don't even have him in the top 60, but I really like him. He redshirted 1 year and has played 4 years of college ball now. Most seniors aren't great picks in the NBA these days, but Hall has made some improvement over the last few years and shown signs that the development could continue. His biggest appeal is his 3-point shooting. In his first 2 seasons, Hall shot 33% from deep, but improved that to 37.2% in his junior year and an incredible 43.2% in his senior season. This improvement is an indicator of a desire to improve and the capacity to continue to grow as a shooter, and 3-point shooting is probably the most in-demand skill in the NBA at the moment. If you can pass as a defender and hit threes at a reliable clip, you can find minutes in the NBA. Teams that need 3-point shooting such as the Pelicans, the Spurs, and OKC might take a flyer with a late second rounder and give Hall a go. Plus, he is actually quite athletic and is 6'5", which is huge for a point guard. Devon could develop into a player who can hit threes off the ball and even run backup point guard for a team. Not a bad pickup for a guy late in the second round. Up next is another 3-point shooting point guard. Aaron Holiday is on the smaller side when compared to Devon Hall though. He stands at 6'1", but has a wingspan of 6'7", and therefore has the capacity to develop into a decent NBA level defender. But teams won't be picking Holiday for his defense. They'll be picking him for his ability to score the ball and shoot threes. In his first 2 seasons at UCLA, Holiday showed signs of being a good scorer, shooting over 40% from deep and finishing tough shots as he slashed his way to the hoop. But he only managed to score 10 and 12 points a game in his first 2 seasons and was relegated to the bench in his second year. But in his junior season, he managed to score an incredible 20 points a game as he became one of the leaders of the team. Teams will be wary that he scored most of these points because of his experience and not necessarily because he has an incredible amount of talent. And for this reason, I think he will either go late in the first round or very early in the second round. I would try and pick him up in the second as it gives teams more flexibility in the contracts they sign him to, whereas first round contracts are guaranteed from day one. But then again, all of the championship contenders pick in the late first round, and Holiday could present a shooting option off of the bench for them. So look for him to go in that 26 to 35 range and potentially contribute to a team straight away off of the bench. Up next is Kevin Hervey, and he presents an exciting option for a team in need of an athletic wing who can shoot the ball a little bit. He played 4 years at the University of Texas Arlington and didn't go up against the best competition ever in his division. Hervey is a 6'7" wing who played both small forward and power forward in college. In the past, he probably wouldn't get much of a chance in the NBA as he would be viewed as a tweener. But in the modern NBA, where we're moving towards playing more wings, Hervey presents an interesting option. In his senior year, he averaged 20.5 points, 8.5 rebounds, and 2.2 assists while shooting 34% from 3 on almost 7 attempts a game. Kevin was obviously the star of his team and dominated in a featured role. When he gets to the NBA, he will have to play more of a defined role off the bench or as the 5th starter. He'll be very rarely given the ball and asked to create. But Hervey will be able to slash off the ball, pass, finish in transition, and spot up from 3. In draft workouts, I think teams will want to see if Hervey has made any improvements to his 3-point shooting, because if he can lift his shooting to around 37 to 40%, he'll become a much more interesting prospect. But even if he can't, he would still be given the green light to take open threes in the NBA. With this skill combined with the fact that he has a 7'3" wingspan and is 6'7", can defend, is athletic, and can rebound the ball on both ends, Hervey becomes a fascinating prospect on the wing. I expect a team in the second round to take Kevin and try and turn him into a 3-and-D player in the long term. Up next, we have everyone's favourite player from Duke, Grayson Allen. The 4-year player has developed a reputation for being a dirty player due to his tripping incidents, and his basketball career has been filled with ups and downs. In his second season, Allen scored 21.4 points a game as he starred for Duke while shooting 41.7% from deep. Everyone expected Grayson to continue to dominate the college scene and become one of the best scorers in the competition. But in his junior and senior season, he only averaged 14.5 and 15.5 points a game while shooting 37% from deep. This largely came from a reduced scoring role, and he was asked to facilitate the ball a little bit more. But while his assist numbers went up a little bit, he didn't exactly turn into Chris Paul. But teams will still be fascinated by Allen's shooting ability. In the NBA, Grayson will likely play alongside bigger talents that will take the attention of the defense away from him. He'll be asked to run around screens, spot up in the corner, and score off cutting, slashing, and driving his way to the rim. Plus, Allen did his draft stock a huge favour at the Combine, recording the highest ever agility test score and being 4th in his class for a vertical leap. Allen has a 40-inch vertical, and when you combine this with his agility, speed, and shooting, he is an exciting draft prospect for sure. I think he'll end up going in the first round, and if he shoots the lights out in individual workouts, he might even be drafted higher. Allen will also probably end up going to a team that is in the playoffs, and will therefore come off the bench to play a wing role or some backup guard. But he presents a great option later in the draft, and I think some mock drafts are definitely sleeping on him. The last sleeper for this video is Dante DiVincenzo. Yes, the guy who came off the bench in the championship game and dropped 31 points. But he isn't just a one-game wonder. He has slowly progressed into a really solid player in his 3 years in Villanova. Every year he bumped his scoring and 3-point shooting and proved himself as a player who would work hard and not just coast by on his talent. Like Grayson Allen, the draft combine went exceptionally well for Dante. He did really well in both the agility test and the sprint testing. But what will excite teams most is the 42-inch vertical leap he displayed, the top of his class. This explosive athleticism and speed gives great hopes that he'll be able to translate his game to the NBA. He should be able to get out and run in transition, and will be tough to chase around the court if he can build a really strong fitness level. NBA teams will also love his willingness to change his role throughout the season and never complain. Plus, he plays with great energy on defense, and while he may not have the strength to guard some players, he will never give up. This is an attitude that NBA teams really love, and will place him in good stead to get drafted in the late first round. That is the end of my 7 sleeper picks, guys, and you might have noticed a trend that I like a lot of athletic wings who can shoot, or big men that can shoot. That is because in the later draft picks, I think these guys tend to work out when compared to hyper-athletic players that can't shoot. In the modern NBA, teams look for guys who compete, can shoot, and play a team-orientated game. I think all 7 of these players can do that, and expect them to have solid NBA careers, and that is why they are my biggest sleepers in this year's NBA draft. Thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe for more NBA videos, and let me know your favourite sleeper draft picks in the comments below.